For centuries, the name Cleopatra has shimmered like a mirage across the sands of time, a queen, a strategist, a seductress, and a symbol of lost glory. But behind her legend lies an enigma that has haunted historians, explorers, and dreamers alike. Where is Cleopatra buried? It's a question that has lured scholars into the desert, swallowed expeditions, and sparked a mystery that refuses to die. Yet, after 2,000 years of silence, an unexpected discovery has forced the world to look again, deep beneath the ruins of an ancient Egyptian temple, where something impossible waits. And if what they found there is truly what it seems, then Cleopatra's final secret isn't just buried, it's alive. To understand why this discovery matters, we must remember who Cleopatra truly was, not the caricature Hollywood painted, but the last pharaoh of Egypt, ruling in an age when empires shifted like sand. Born in 69 BCE, Cleopatra VII was no ordinary monarch. She spoke 9 languages, studied philosophy in Alexandria's libraries, and negotiated with Rome's most powerful men, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, not as a servant, but as an equal. Her reign was the final heartbeat of Egypt's independence. And when she died, or rather, when she chose to die, that heartbeat stopped. The story we're told says Cleopatra took her own life, letting an asp's venom end her dynasty. But her burial site? Vanished. Not a trace. Not even a tomb. Historians have searched for centuries. Some claimed her body was thrown into the Nile, others that she was entombed beside Antony in a royal crypt now lost beneath modern Alexandria. Every lead turned to dust, until a quiet voice in 2005 suggested something radical. That voice belonged to Dr. Kathleen Martinez, a Dominican archaeologist who had spent years obsessed with Cleopatra's final days. She didn't see Cleopatra as a doomed lover, but as a strategist, one who chose her death carefully, to protect her legacy from Rome's humiliation. Martinez believed Cleopatra's tomb would not be in Alexandria's urban heart at all, but somewhere sacred, hidden in a temple dedicated to Osiris and Isis, the Egyptian gods of death and rebirth. After years of study, one site stood out, Taposiris Magna, a windswept ruin on Egypt's north coast. When Martinez presented her theory, the academic world scoffed. The temple was too far, too damaged, too unlikely. But she persisted, and the Egyptian authorities, intrigued by her conviction, gave her permission to dig. That decision would change everything. The first excavation began quietly, trenches carved between crumbled columns and fractured walls. It was grueling work, done under blistering heat and constant skepticism. Yet within weeks, the desert began to whisper its secrets. Martinez's team unearthed coins bearing Cleopatra's face, unmistakable. Then came fragments of alabaster statues resembling both Cleopatra and Antony, carved with unmistakable Greco-Egyptian fusion. The finds were tantalizing. But one structure caught Martinez's eye, a sealed shaft beneath the temple floor. It led downward at an angle too steep to be natural, carved with precision beyond its age. When they sent a drone camera inside, the images returned with eerie clarity, a tunnel, running perfectly straight for nearly a mile beneath the ground. What was it leading to? The engineers said it was impossible, a structure of such symmetry surviving 2,000 years without collapse defied logic. Yet there it was, walls smooth as glass, lined with limestone blocks, descending into the unknown. The world began to take notice. Newspapers called it the impossible tunnel. Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities called it the most remarkable engineering mystery since the pyramids. When Martinez's team entered the first 100 meters, they found traces of water, mineral deposits and shells, suggesting the tunnel had once been submerged. Yet deeper inside, something stranger appeared, an inscription carved in fading Greek and Demotic Egyptian. It read, "To those who seek the divine, beware, for the breath of the gods sleeps below." It wasn't a warning Martinez could ignore. But neither could she stop. They pressed forward, until the tunnel ended abruptly at a collapsed arch. Behind it, ground-penetrating radar detected a hollow chamber. A sealed door, buried in rock. When they finally cleared the debris, they found themselves staring at an obsidian-black wall etched with gold. The air that escaped was cold, impossibly cold for the desert. It was as though the earth itself had been holding its breath. The wall bore symbols, the sun disk, the serpent, and two figures entwined, Cleopatra and Antony, crowned as gods. Between them, a single line of hieroglyphs that read, "Together in eternity, crowned in silence." It was the first time in recorded history that Cleopatra's and Antony's names appeared united in funerary script. When the wall was breached, the archaeologists entered a chamber lined with granite, perfectly sealed, untouched by time. Inside were two sarcophagi, one carved from pink limestone, another from basalt darker than midnight. The limestone coffin had long since collapsed, revealing bones, male, fragmented, decayed. The basalt one, however, was intact. Its lid was fused shut, edges melted as though sealed by fire. For days, Martinez hesitated. Opening it could destroy the remains inside, or release something they weren't prepared to face. But eventually, with controlled precision, they began to cut. When the lid cracked open, the chamber seemed to sigh. Inside was no skeleton. No mummy. Just a shape wrapped in gold leaf, cocooned in resin, a figure of a woman with features too fine, too precise to mistake. At her throat, a pendant shaped like a serpent biting its tail. The symbol of eternity. It was Cleopatra. Or what was left of her. And beside her head lay a small bronze cylinder, no larger than a human forearm, its surface covered in intricate writing that glowed faintly when light touched it. The cylinder defied classification. It wasn't purely Egyptian, nor Greek. Its alloy composition was unlike anything documented, a blend of copper, tin, gold, and an unidentified metallic trace that resisted corrosion. The hieroglyphs upon it were written in a mixture of tongues, Demotic, ancient Greek, and something older, a pictographic cipher unseen in Egyptian archives. At first, Martinez assumed it was a ceremonial scroll case. But when they tried to open it, the object responded, a low hum vibrated through the metal. The laboratory reports described something extraordinary. The cylinder emitted rhythmic pulses, synchronized faintly with the heartbeats of those handling it. Coincidence? Possibly. But repeated tests yielded the same phenomenon. The cylinder earned a name among the team, Pandora. Soon after, strange symptoms began to appear. Several workers reported dizziness, heart palpitations, and vivid dreams, images of water, serpents, and voices whispering in forgotten tongues. One technician claimed he saw a reflection in the cylinder's surface, a woman's eyes, blinking back. Then, unexpectedly, the ministry ordered the chamber sealed and placed under quarantine. No official statement was released. The team was dismissed, the site guarded. Martinez was told her work was under review. But leaks began to spread, internal memos referencing bioactive resonance, neural frequency anomalies, and containment protocols. A rumor claimed the cylinder was transferred to Cairo, then to a private military lab for study. Another said it was buried again, sealed in concrete beneath Taposiris Magna, never to be disturbed. Dr. Martinez, however, refused to accept silence. She spent years collecting her own data, publishing cautiously worded papers suggesting that Cleopatra may have commissioned a vessel of immortality, not literal, but symbolic. A preservation of consciousness encoded through sound, light, or metallurgy. Others called her delusional. But one passage from Cleopatra's final writings, recovered long ago from the Library of Alexandria, resurfaced. It reads: "The body is but the vessel. When the breath of the gods is captured in metal, the soul will awaken when the stars return to their place." Was Cleopatra describing Pandora? Scientists who reviewed Martinez's private notes found anomalies in the readings. The cylinder did, in fact, emit low-frequency oscillations. Not enough to be dangerous, but distinct from environmental noise. The alloy, when tested under neutron imaging, revealed microscopic filaments woven through the metal, as if it were engineered at a scale beyond ancient technology. The rational explanation points to natural crystallization, an unknown metallurgical reaction. Yet the pattern within resembled something eerily deliberate, the spiral of a serpent, coiling endlessly inward. Some physicists speculated that Cleopatra's artisans, aided by Greek engineers, could have stumbled upon a form of piezoelectric resonance, turning vibration into stored energy. But that theory doesn't explain why, when the cylinder is sealed in a vacuum, it continues to pulse. For modern Egypt, Cleopatra's tomb has become both triumph and taboo. Officials celebrate the discovery's historical value but avoid discussing its final contents. Visitors to Taposiris Magna are shown the temple's upper ruins, never the chamber below. Guards patrol constantly. Drones are forbidden. Yet satellite imagery has caught something strange, intermittent thermal signatures beneath the site, appearing at intervals of precisely 90 minutes. As though something below were cycling, heating and cooling. And then, reports surfaced of birds dying near the excavation perimeter. Instruments malfunctioning. Sensors recording electromagnetic surges. Coincidence? Perhaps. But to those who believe Cleopatra sought eternal life through divine technology, it's evidence of something stirring beneath the sand. If Cleopatra's body truly lies beneath Taposiris Magna, then history itself must be rewritten. It would mean she rejected Roman burial customs entirely, choosing instead a tomb aligned with Egypt's most sacred myth, the death and resurrection of Osiris. Her decision, then, was deliberate, symbolic of rebirth. The queen who defied Rome intended to rise again, not as flesh, but as memory. Martinez once said, "Cleopatra did not die to be forgotten. She died to be eternal." And perhaps that eternity doesn't lie in her tomb at all, but in the very object she left behind, a bronze heart still beating, faintly, in the dark. In 2023, an anonymous source within the ministry leaked an internal report marked Eyes Only. It referenced a project codenamed Project Osiris, citing anomalous electromagnetic emissions consistent with bioactive metal composites. The final line of the report read, "Continued exposure inadvisable. Recommend reseal. Entity remains in stable state." Entity. What entity could they mean? No one knows for certain what Cleopatra's bronze cylinder truly is, a lost experiment, a relic of divine craftsmanship, or simply an ancient artifact misinterpreted by modern fear. But what is certain is this: something in that tomb changed those who entered it. And something beneath the sands of Egypt still hums, waiting. 2,000 years ago, a queen looked upon the empire that sought to erase her and chose to vanish on her own terms. She left behind a mystery so profound that even now, with satellites and science, we can't explain it. Was Cleopatra's final act an escape from death? A declaration of love? Or a warning to those who would disturb the gods' domain? Perhaps the truth lies not in what she buried, but in why she buried it. Until the chamber is opened again, the sands will keep their secret. The tunnel will sleep. And somewhere beneath the ruins of Taposiris Magna, the last pharaoh of Egypt may still be dreaming, her heart sealed in bronze, her soul whispering through the stone. I am still here.